So it's easy for me to use a cooking analogy to speak about something that is very complex, and that's data migration. So hopefully today you'll walk away with a good recipe for your next data migration. And then if you have anything that you want to talk about after that, of course, you can reach out to me. I'm not hard to find at all. And I did put my LinkedIn link in the chat, I believe. So with that, let me find my screen. Let's see where we're going to share it. All right. Hopefully everybody can see the slide. Can I get a thumbs up from anybody? Can you see my screen? Okay, good. Thanks, Denise. I'm going to turn my camera off so I'm not distracted by that. Maybe. Technology. Okay. So, from kitchen nightmares to Salesforce Success, a recipe for data migration. Hopefully, again, today, I hope you walk away with some good tips and a great recipe for your next migration. Oops. I think, hold on one second. It doesn't look like it's sharing right to me. Apologies for this. Let me try it one more time. It's the Gamma site that I'm using that's funky. Okay, here we go. Wouldn't be a tech meeting without some sort of tech issue. Do this one more time. There we go. All right. So let's be honest, most migrations don't go sideways because of data. In my experience and the conversations that I'm having with customers now, they tend to go sideways because of a lack of planning. Nobody's going to show up to their Thanksgiving dinner this year with no ingredients and hoping that dinner somehow makes it to the table. We all have a plan. You need to prep. Otherwise, you're going to end up with lots of hungry guests. For your planning pieces, these 3 items that I've highlighted on the slide are what I'm hearing the most. Missing data, broken relationships, and failed timelines. Again, you want to make your migration very, take the stress out of it and take the risk out of it. And that doesn't happen without planning properly. So for the recipe analogy, I want you to think of data migration like preparing that complex meal for hundreds of guests. Every step that you take matters. Your timing is crucial, and the ingredients must be perfect. So here's the framework. Prepping your ingredients is cleaning and organizing your data sources. Making sure that Joe in sales with his Excel sheet that he's been running his business on for the last 10 years doesn't get missed when you're doing the migration. Next step is, or next analogy, piece of the analogy is following the recipe. You need to have a very detailed migration roadmap. Without a plan, you're going to fail. Without an idea of where you're going, you're not going to understand how to get there. So creating that detailed migration roadmap at the beginning is crucial. Now let's move into the fun part and do some taste tests. But that's just running your test migration in order to validate that roadmap that you worked so hard on preparing. So you've prepped your ingredients, you're following this great recipe, you've done the taste testing, and now it's time for the final plating. Executing that final import with quality assurance, making sure that all of the checks and balances along the way have resulted in that perfect migration. I'm sure everybody already does that, right? So prepping your ingredients is super easy, right? No, it's not. Time and time again, project after project, team after team that I talk to now, they're a third into the migration, halfway into the migration, when again, Joe from some department who's been running all of his information from a spreadsheet forgot to give that to the project team at the beginning of the migration. And now here comes some more data to clean. Before any great dish comes together, you have to be meticulous and prepare every ingredient. This data is your ingredient and it deserves that attention to detail. You need to be sure that you're cataloging all the Joes in the project. You need to make sure that you have every data source, every Excel spreadsheet, understand those object relationships, and document the current state architecture. One particularly hairy migration project that I was on when I was still doing hands-on keyboard work was a legacy Salesforce org. They decided, well, their corporate office decided that they needed to roll up to the corporate instance. The admin of the legacy instance was probably one of the most organized people that I have ever met in my Salesforce career. She literally could have written this presentation. She naturally followed this recipe and came to us with completed data sources, relationships mapped, all of the architecture in place. It was amazing. She had already gone through and started to clean and dedupe items using a tool called Cloudingo. She was able to remove those duplicates, fix the formatting inconsistencies, and eliminate the incomplete records. This was amazing for a partner consulting team to be handed. It did, result in a few less billable hours, which wasn't great, but it did make our project go much smoother having such a prepared admin. So my hope is after today, you'll have this sort of guideline and checklist that you can carry with you and understand how your future migrations might look if you follow the recipe. Standardizing the formats is another big issue that we run into, especially talking to teams now that I work with at Data Importer. It's the date format is always giving somebody an error, and they're convinced that it's our product, but really it's their Excel sheet magically changed their year, month, date format. And so anybody that's gone through a migration knows that those inconsistent date formats will throw your migration off track. So all of these items, when you're prepping your recipe, prepping your ingredients, are important to make sure that this data is not a mess. You don't want your migration to be a mess. It's really that simple. Again, I'm sure if any of you have been in the ecosystem for any amount of time, you've heard the famous phrase, garbage in, garbage out. Don't import trash and expect it to look good in Salesforce. This is definitely not the glamorous part of a migration. However, it will save you a lot of time. This tip I put in here: spend 60% of your migration time on this data prep. That admin that I told you that came to us with all of her spreadsheets, everything kind of fixed already, and handed that over to us as a consulting team was amazing. It allowed us to cut so much time off of the migration and make us look like heroes, honestly. All right, now we're going to go ahead and check the recipe, which is your roadmap. You can't just wing a migration. This isn't a TikTok influencer giving you that one-pan pasta recipe. You need to act like a master chef, and a master chef never starts cooking without thoroughly understanding the recipe. Your migration roadmap is equally critical for this success. Decide what's coming over and what's staying behind. You have to define those scope and goals early. and efficiently, succinctly. Map your fields early. Don't assume that account name magically connects to company name. You need to create that detailed field mapping documentation. Source fields to target fields, transformation rules, data validation requirements, all of those things are critical for your data migration success. Sequence objects. Plan your order of operations. Parent objects go before children. Lookups before dependencies, users before records, etc. A recipe written in pencil allows for adjustments. Keep your roadmap flexible but detailed. There are some tools that take kind of the guesswork out of these 3 items on here. You want to use everything that's at your disposal, again, to make this migration not a headache, but a delicious Michelin star meal. All right, we have prepared our ingredients, we've got our recipe, and now it's time to do a taste test. I am a big proponent of tasting my dishes before I serve it. My husband, not so much, which always ends up me adding more salt or something like that afterwards. But anyway, please, please, please make sure to taste your food before you serve it. Test your migration before go live. You don't want a gotcha on go live day when you're expecting data to show up a certain way and it does not look that way at all when your user logs in and they were coming to you or entering tickets, where's this, where's that, or this isn't the right data. You want to make sure that you're going through some quality control. And how you do that is you start small. Begin with a subset of real data. 100 to 500 records that represent your data and any kind of edge use cases that you can think of. Use real samples, use real data. Avoid kind of made up data. It'll make more sense to you if you're using your actual data. For example, if you have a import or a migration product that also offers sandbox seating at the same time, you can actually use your production data to kind of cook up your messiest, most complex scenarios, right? Next, you want to make sure you validate early and often. Check your data integrity, your relationship preservation, and business rule compliance after each test iteration. And then finally, adjust before your final serving. Refine your process. You'll learn from the sample data if you have mapping issues, and then you can optimize that before the production migration. This quote, I don't know who this quote is from or where I found it. I should have cited it, but I didn't. The best migrations are boring migrations. No surprises, no drama, just predictable success. All right, we've gotten through the taste test. It went great. It's yummy. Now we're going to plate this up and serve it, right? This is the final import and QA portion of your migration. This is your moment. You've done your prep, you've tested. Now let's go live. It's flawless, it's yummy. How did you do it? You're importing in manageable batches. Process your data in digestible chunks. Typically 200 to 2,000 records per batch, depending on the tool, depending on complexity and API limits. Validate in source. Run your reports, check your record counts, verify relationships, and test business processes immediately after each batch. And then document everything. If you're in Salesforce, you know documentation is key. Record what worked, what didn't, any error patterns that you've noticed, and lessons for any future migrations. If it went well, you're going to want to brag, so write it down. And if it didn't, you'll still need those receipts so that when you have your postmortem on the project, you will know what to avoid for the next time. So some best practices that you want to take note of that separate the amateurs from the master chefs. Number one, always have a backup. Export your target org data before your migration. Create restore points. Plan for those rollback scenarios. You always want to hope for the best, but you're going to be prepared for the worst. Next, you're going to want to be sure to communicate with your team. Surprising them with a data wipe is not cute, and it's not very good for team building. Keep those stakeholders informed with realistic timelines. In Salesforce land, we always underpromise and overdeliver, makes you look fantastic. And regular updates prevent panic and build confidence. We touched on this briefly at the last slide. Import in batches. Those smaller batches mean easier troubleshooting, better error isolation, and more manageable rollbacks if you have an issue arise. Salesforce errors are way easier to fix in small doses. Finally, document your recipes. The future you will always thank the present you. Document those mappings, transformation logic, and lessons learned for the next migration or the next admin that comes in after you go on to find your dream job. All right, every kitchen has disasters, and I'm going to tell you here some common ones that I've seen talking to customers over the past year and what you might learn from their mistakes. Number one, skipping the prep. That dirty data, rushing into a migration without proper data cleaning leads to the garbage in, garbage out rule, right? Duplicates, formatting issues, and incomplete records create ongoing problems. Everything that your users hated about whatever instance you're moving from, you put those same dirty records in the new instance, they're just going to compound on their hatred for doing anything in Salesforce. All right, no taste test means errors in production. Going straight to production without testing is like serving untested food to customers. Field mapping errors, relationship breaks, those all become very expensive fixes. And let's face it, you have better things to do with your time than to keep going back and fixing field mapping errors, right? You don't want to be spending your off hours doing such things. Rushing the plating means failed imports. Impatience during that final import leads to API limit violations, timeout errors, and incomplete data loads that require complex cleanup. Again, what we want to get you into the groove of is following this recipe and making sure that you have all your steps in order so that you don't have to do a lot of rework. It's a waste of time. You don't want to be looking at partial records and broken lookups, etc., as you're expecting the final export, right? Or migration, rather. Wrong tool choice could lead to wasted effort. Using data loader for complex transformations or Excel for large data sets kind of wastes time and increases your error risk. Conversely, I've seen people try to use MuleSoft for what, common tools like dataimporter.io could handle very efficiently and easily without kind of involving developers. Choose the right tool for the job. I mean, you can use Excel to migrate 100,000 records, but you are much braver than me. I would not do that. Plan it, test it, take your time, use real tools. All right, I wanted to share a case study of a recent migration that was completed by a nonprofit. So they had over 1 million records to be migrated, which included accounts, contacts, opportunities, cases, and some custom objects. Over 10 objects were included, including file attachments, document libraries, etc. They had 5 days. That was their timeline, including validation and testing. They were able to complete this because they followed the recipe. They were prepared. They had a great roadmap and a great tool. They really saved 3 weeks off of what a were anticipating this was going to take them. They were a very mature Salesforce team, or they are a very mature Salesforce team, and had meticulously prepared, worked with our founder to kind of double check their roadmap and really followed this recipe approach. 2 weeks on data prep, a week on testing, and completed the production migration in just 5 days. So they treated our product as their sous chef, handling those repetitive tasks while the team could focus on the strategy and quality control. So what did we learn today? We want to transform your data migration approach from a chaotic disaster to a systematic success with our proven recipe. Prep, cleaning your data. You want to make sure that you inventory, clean, and standardize your ingredients. Your recipe is your roadmap. Define your scope, map your fields, and sequence your objects. Do a taste test. Those test migrations that you start small and validate early will make all of the difference in your final migration. And finally, the plating. Your final import and QA, you want to do those batch imports, validate results, and document everything. And if you need a sous chef, we're here for you. So I'd love to get some conversation going. And I would love to hear about the spiciest data migration you've been a part of, if you have, what made it challenging, what steps caused the most problems, etc., and what you learned and what you could share with the others. And I'll leave this up here as well. I have a 5-step guide that you can take, and I will share this website link in the chat for you that you can take with you and hopefully make your next migration work wonderful for you.
Okay, everyone, let's bombard with questions. Or
Oh, God.
so, yeah, I mean, if I have plenty to ask, I don't know what others look. So I see Mahesh Babu, do you want to unmute yourself and ask question yourself? Oh, it's about this voucher, okay. But you do have a question about data seeding. Would you want to unmute yourself and ask yourself? I don't see him. Oh, yeah, okay. Someone in the room. Yeah, you would like to come here? Okay.
I also see a question here that said, wanted to know the deduping tool that the admin used on the project that I referred to, and she had used Cloudingo. Cloudingo, Cloudingo.
That's a great tool. I use that as well.
Hi, I do have a question. So now when we consider data migration, like different companies might be using different tools or maybe different templates to do the field mapping, things like that. Based on your past experience, do you have like a recommended spreadsheet where we have the source fields and the destination fields, like a template which any company can use?
So I don't have templates like that. Salesforce does have data migration templates like that, I think. They used to back when I was doing this kind of work and still doing everything in Excel. There are tools available for migration that offer migration templates. So that is to say, if you were using a tool that had migration templates, you wouldn't need the Excel sheets and you wouldn't have to worry about going from company to company and changing the spreadsheets so much. So I would recommend looking into a tool that has migration templates, and I'm sure you can guess where I'm going to tell you to look. Migration templates are an amazing help, but when I used to do migrations myself, there was something on Salesforce Help, and you could Google it. It was a standard kind of Excel download that had all of the headings and things of that nature.
I haven't
I
seen
don't know
recently.
if that would help you.
Right.
Yeah.
Double check. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. I didn't get his name.
I'm Danusha.
What's that?
Danusha.
I'm Danusha.
Danusha.
Oh, nice to meet you.
All right. So data seeding, need map API names for easy mapping. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't. Aisha Begum, would you like to unmute yourself and check
So I
directly?
think I understand what they're getting at. They want to understand sandbox seeding, maybe. So sandbox seeding allows you, and there are several products that will create kind of mock data for you to seed your sandbox with, like Mockaroo is one of them. Our product also has a sandbox seeding function, which uses your actual production data that you can mask and seed your sandboxes with. So we recommend sandbox seeding because it will make more sense to you when you're doing your migration testing and you're trying to understand, okay, have I mapped all my fields correctly? Is this the data? Is this the way I want the data to look in the new instance? You have to have some sort of frame of reference for that, and sandbox seeding can help with you, help that with you, and even more relevant if it's your data that you're used to looking at, right? So you can say very quickly, oh, this is not right, this is mapped to the wrong field, and that sort of thing. So it's a crucial part, I think, of migrations, and it's a lot of the feedback that we get from customers to have that ability to seed the sandbox with their actual data is helping them in their QA process.
Yeah, and I think there's another question. I guess Mahesh Babu can't speak because it's night there, and I believe everybody is sleeping.
Yeah.
And so, but his question, one question is like, the data importer, is it free? Like, I believe dataimporter.io.
Yes. So if you visit dataimporter.io, you'll see on the pricing page is very clear. We have a free tier, which I recommend that everybody try it out. Obviously, it's very robust. A lot of our nonprofit clients start on that free tier because, as we all know, nonprofits are having a particularly rough time right now with funding. So it's very robust with 20,000 records per month. You can connect one production and one sandbox to it. And right now, when you go and sign up, you're actually put into our enterprise level trial, which is giving you access to 5 production. You can connect 5 production orgs and 10 sandboxes, and you'll be able to see the migration templates and things of that nature. Those features are available on the paid tiers. And then we're getting ready to announce, it's being very difficult for me to keep my mouth shut about this next feature that we're announcing, but watch my LinkedIn because it's going to be amazing. It's no other data loader offers what we're about to announce we are adding as a functionality. So I'm very excited about it. I know I get paid to be excited about it, but I'm Amy, and so I don't lie well. So I'm truly excited about this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can try Data Importer for free. You can be on the free license for forever. You might not ever have a use to go over 20,000 records. It's very robust. Map the data for you, all of those things.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Vidya was asking, what does success look like after data migration? So she said 90 days, or maybe you can, I guess even immediately, right? You, after that data migration, you want to start using the new org or?
To me, what a successful migration to me looked like when I was a consultant was I didn't have 50,000 users saying this record's missing, this record's missing, this record's missing. So that was a very successful migration to me. For the teams that I deal with, it's being able to under promise and over deliver. So the successful migrations that our teams are having deal with mainly the fact that they've spent that 60% in the advance prepping their data, so that once they serve the plate, it's a delicious meal for everybody, and there aren't too many people that are sending it back to the kitchen. So just to keep in with my analogy, that to me is a successful data migration. When your users are able to immediately start doing their job, start doing what they need to do in Salesforce, and not come to you and open a ticket and say, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong. So that to me is what makes a successful migration.
Yeah, and there was another question about the tool name the admin should use to clean and dedupe the data.
So you can use dataimporter.io to do that, but I'll also put in the other tool. I told you, our product does it all, Cloudingo.
You rock and roll, Amy. I found.
Well, it's all because the founder of the company, Sam, he's based in New Zealand, and he used to be a consultant doing migrations, and he used to use another product and didn't like it, and so he built this. So it's really like, I think that's why I like it so much, because you can very much see if you've ever done a migration, like, oh yeah, he's been on a bad project. That's why this feature is there, so it's funny. So I put the Cloudingo in there. That was what that admin used for deduping, but there are several other products that you can use to dedupe. I think Apsona has a deduping tool. Data Groomer has a deduping tool, or is a deduping tool, and they use AI. So there's a lot of different tools that are available to you. It just depends on, do you want a bunch of different tools, one for sandbox seeding, one for backup, one for this, one for that, or do you want one tool that does all of those things, that sort of thing? It's your budget and your preference for multiple tools, your comfort level with multiple tools. I personally don't like multiple tools.
Yes. So, Tarun, would you like to unmute and ask? Well, he was asking, can you please share how many maximum users we can get in free tier?
So, Taryn, if you have a team, each team member would have their own free tier. So you wouldn't be able to see each other's work. However, if you bump up to a paid license, we do have a team ability. If you're a partner, we do have a partner license program. So all of those things you can reach out to me about if you have questions.
And we have the privilege of having Dodi and Craig in our room with us. And Craig would like to ask a question.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Craig.
I'm Craig Warren. I'm a Salesforce consultant. I work with a lot of small nonprofits. And I'm just wondering, like ideally, it's great to have like a sandbox seeding tool, but how do you really go about making sure that your sample in your sandbox is a really representative sample of your production data?
Well, that's a good question. And I'll speak from our product. For Data Importer, you're connecting your sandbox, or you're connecting your production org to Data Importer. So it's pulling that exact data, your production data. For sample size, you have the ability to do as little as 1 record, 10 records, 20 records for your sample size, and then you will get a preview of what that seeded data would look like before you actually seed your sandbox.
Great.
Yeah, it's actual production. It's that customer's data, so it's extremely helpful. It's wonderful for them to be able to recognize, yes, I recognize this record and this is what it should look like and things of that nature. So the mock data apps are great, but I don't find them, even when I was a consultant, I didn't find them particularly helpful because it wasn't true data for that org.
I have a question too. Hi, I'm Dodie.
Hi.
I was just wondering how long Data Importer has been around and what else you can tell us about it. Wish we had time for a demo, but maybe that's not.
We're on the 4th year. I'm just coming up on my 1-year anniversary. So the founder is based in New Zealand, Sam Holt, and he was a Salesforce consultant for many years. Didn't like the limitations that he had with dataloader.io and the lack of customer service on that side or feature development. So he built this, and he very much builds in public. I would be happy to schedule a demo or some sort of call. I don't want to hijack this meeting for that, but I appreciate the questions on it. But yeah, that's the company, and he very much builds in public. And I myself joined the company because I could speak and recommend nicely about the product. I don't have to say, oh, it's trash, don't use it. I will evangelize for the product even after I'm not working here if that happens. So it really, truly makes everything easier. Like I said at the beginning, you could literally take your entire hierarchy and move it in one fell swoop with the product. So I would encourage everybody to take a look at it. Reach out to me if you have any questions, if you want to see a deeper demo, if you have an edge case, anything of that nature. I'm happy to dive into it with you.
How are you all handling the support? If that was a goal to improve support.
Sam handles all the support. So we're available via chat. I do grab the ones that I can do, but he is the deep technical knowledge person on that. And then, for example, the use case that I shared in my presentation, they had a premier support package, which included sessions with him to help them map their migration. Because it was such a tight timeline and such a large amount of data, we did not want anything to go wrong. So those are the different ways that we address that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It was nice meeting you.
Likewise. Okay.
Whee, I'm getting vertigo.
I'm giving you a tour of the room.
All right.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I think, Vidya, did you have any question? Would you like to, ask directly? Vidya? Oh, we can't hear you. I can't hear you. Sorry.
No, we can't hear you.
No.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Vidya? Can't hear. Oh, we could hear you earlier, but not now. Well, the question is, I've witnessed a few issues while serving my clients and wanted to still ask this. What is your rollback plan if issues arise during migration? So how do you currently handle data validation and duplicate management?
Okay, there's lots of questions in there. So number one, if you have a product like Data Importer, that offers rollback functionality. If you have an insert and you say, whoopsie, those were 50,000 records that should not have gone into production, you can roll those back. The other question, I don't think that, to my knowledge, no other data loader has that functionality. So I'm not sure how other people are handling that rollback situation with their migrations when they don't have a tool that rolls back anything, other than if they did an export and are trying to undo that import. That's the only two options that I can think of off the top of my head. And the other questions, I'm sorry, were around what?
Just trying to yeah, deduplication. No, the data validation and duplicate management. Yeah.
So for the duplicate management, you're going to want to utilize any of those. Are you talking about duplicate management rules in Salesforce when you're doing the migration, or trying to manage the duplicates before when you're cleaning the data?
Vidya, can you speak to that? Okay, I think, yes, that's what the prior one.
The duplicate management rules? Okay, so with Data Importer, you can turn off any duplicate management rules, any flows, anything before your migration. Aside from that, I'm not sure that any other tool does that. You would want to work with your administrator on incorporating that into your plan. If there are any sort of validations and rules or flows where a record is getting updated, we've seen that happen a lot on different migrations where they couldn't figure out why this record wasn't looking like how it previewed in Data Importer. And what we discovered was they did not toggle off the flows. There was a flow that updated the record automatically. And so once that hit the new instance, that flow started and updated the record. So the data didn't look as they had expected it to look. So it's very important, again, to when you're doing that planning portion of your migration, you have to have all of the pieces, all of the ingredients gathered, right? So you have to make sure that you're looking at your automations, you're looking at what's currently on, what does it do? This takes a lot of work to figure that out. Conversely, find a product that allows you to turn them off before you do your migration.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. Like automations, do they need to be turned off before you migrate?
I think it depends on what they do. So that would vary highly from project to project. In our experience, admins do like the capability to turn off the automations when they're doing a migration, because oftentimes, and I'm sure this hasn't happened to anybody, you start working at an org and there's probably lots of code, lots of automations, and I'm sure everybody's dealt with wonderful documentation on every org, and they know every piece of automation in their org, right? Is that right? Yeah, everybody?
Hello.
Yeah. So as a consultant, my job was to do the SOW, get in there, get out. I didn't have time to learn all of their code. I didn't have time to learn what every flow did. Being able to turn those off before the migration, do the migration, turn it back on, you're done. So that is crucial part of your planning. That is a huge piece for the planning team to map out. How are you going to handle those automations?
Right, and there is a org switcher tool, right? But I don't know, it didn't work for me. Like it's supposed to turn off the automations easily with one click and turn on, but I guess it's not working for me. So yeah, is there any tool that can do that? Other than that, there was one too, but sorry, is somebody talking?
Yeah, hi, Tarun this side. I have a question. Like, I would like to know more about the pre-built Salesforce connector. So it will be amazing if you can share a bit about Salesforce connectors.
Oh, you mean for external objects or?
Yeah, as I have gone through data importer when they have mentioned that data importer offer many pre-built connector for you to connect your Salesforce with and begin pushing data in minutes.
Yep, we offer lots of different integrations. So Google Sheets, Google Drive, Snowflake, OneDrive, SFTP, all of those things you can connect to very simply. Let me just share my screen. Maybe that'll make it easier. So, whoops, that's not the screen I want. I want my dashboard so that you can see what I'm talking about. Here I am in Data Importer, and what Tarun was just asking about were the integrations. So to set up an integration, you simply come to integrations and click New Integration. And then you can pick from any of the storage or databases that we currently offer. For example, if you want to set up your SFTP, it's just a matter of entering your credentials and hitting submit, and then that will show up in your connected integrations. We have a lot of customers who use that for scheduled jobs. They have files dropping into SFTP, and they can just set up that scheduled job, and it runs 3 in the morning or whatever when you're not working.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just saw on your dashboard that there was also a Salesforce instance something also. So thank you so
Yeah,
much
so
sharing this
yeah, try it
informative
out.
information. Because as you have mentioned, we can try the free tier. So definitely we would like to start with Salesforce first. And that was the reason I was curious to ask about like what is the best way to connect Salesforce as soon as possible. So
So
thank
we
you.
only connect, you're welcome, and I want to be clear that we only work with Salesforce. So if you're looking to do a migration like HubSpot to HubSpot or something like that, that's not what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, my question was only for Salesforce. Thank you so much.
Perfect. You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
Please reach out if you have any questions, Taryn.
All right, I had a follow-up question on the other thing. Is if you do org-to-org migration, right? So you have old org, we have to have licenses, and we have to sunset it someday. And what kind of, and sometime when you migrate the data, you think everything's working well in the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 90 days from now, you say, hey, we forgot something, or we need to go back and check the data out, right? So what kind of backups, or what kind of systems of backup we should keep out from the old org kind of thing? Ideally will be the whole full export, that's one way kind of thing. Anything better than that?
Well, if you have a backup solution, that would be fantastic. If you have a data product that has a backup solution, even better. And I'm trying not to give away any secrets that are coming up. But anyway, that would be the right approach. And then from that backup, you would just do the update records on your migration.
Right, but thing is, like for example, things like this, like for the nonprofit cloud, for example, you can move from NPSP to NPC, right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll have an old org for a certain time. Maybe, hey, it sunsets at end of like October. So I have a time, and now I've migrated the data. Might have 1 month overlap, whatever it is. But even if I have no NPSP in the future now, kind of thing. So even if I have a backup solution, can like recreate it for me, it's not going to work out for me. Kind of that kind of concept, right? So.
Yeah, I think it would depend highly on the tool I think that you're using for your migration.
I guess like we're a friendly company here, you can leave away some secrets over here. That should be fine.
Well, I mean, it just depends. I'm trying to be agnostic of tool.
Yeah.
But for that sort of situation, I'll just speak to data importer. You would have the history of your jobs. You would be able to see where you left off. You would be able to create that new kind of migration using the same migration templates that you used before. So whether you have NPSB or not wouldn't matter as far as that tool goes.
Yeah, well, I guess the only thing is the data gets manipulated quite a lot when you move out
Yeah.
from different kind of architectural systems. So that's why. So
Yeah, it could be hairy, and those are definitely some edge cases there.
yep. All right. Thanks. Anybody else in the room? Yeah, go ahead. Come on. If people are not asking questions, that means they have not worked hard enough on the.
From an enterprise perspective, enterprises are like very concerned about data privacy, data security, right? So if we are using this particular tool, so where does the enterprise data reside until it gets pushed to the other environment?
Yeah. So Data Importer offers, first of all, hosting in multiple locations, Germany, Ohio, and Australia. The data is encrypted. We do have our SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. We offer SSO for Azure, Okta. You can bring your own key.
Okay.
We're HIPAA compliant. The hosting and the physical security, we do not perform or hold your data. We don't perform any data transfer. All of the file storage, credentials, and processing occurs in that region that you select. Yeah.
So it's pretty much in the cloud on that particular region.
Correct.
And
yeah, I can't see your data. When you sign up for Data Importer and you start doing your migration, I can't see any of that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. I can only see if you ran a job and it failed, and I need to understand why it failed.
Hi, my name is Abhishek.
Hi.
So
Hi, Abhishek.
I saw you mentioned about like seeding data from production to a sandbox arc, but does the tool handle like masking aspect for PII?
Yep.
Got it. Yeah, because there are like a few data related initiatives I'm running at our company right now, where PII is one of the big aspect where for a bad reason, there is a lot of like credit scores and that kind of stuff in our arc. So I don't want to be them there, but that exists. So when we are trying to seed our sandboxes, like especially when sandbox refresh happens,
Yep.
the situation is very tough to handle to mask all that information. So that's why I was curious to understand.
Yeah, that's a great question. We do work with a lot of health cloud and people that have PII and want to mask financial institutions particularly. So I would recommend taking a look at the product, making sure that you keep my information, reach out to me. We definitely do POCs and things of that nature, just so that we're making sure that you're getting what you need out of the product.
Got it.
So yeah, definitely reach out to me. We can help you out and get you through a POC, or just get you on the free tier, and you'll be able to do what you need to do, hopefully.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't want to turn this into a product call. I feel bad. I'm trying to keep it generic, but it seems like it's a lot of people have a good question. So
Appreciated to know about any tools out there that can help us.
yeah.
The troubling questions. Yeah, and PII information sometimes, can you create like a formula field which can only show, like mask most of it and just show a bit like a SSN?
You could, but you don't need to. In our product, you can just mask the fields that you want to mask, and you can have it in whatever format you'd like. If you have a migration and you need to transform data via a formula, you can also do that with Data Importer. Because you said formulas, that jarred that in my mind. So those are a lot of the cleanup and deduping that people are doing with the formulas and so forth. So
Yeah, and we can.
especially if you're moving orgs and it's one kind of format in this org and you want it to be a different format in your your target org, the formulas come in handy on that. So
Yeah, and you can selectively use only like system admins to have the edit access, right? Otherwise,
yep.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just couple
Yeah, so on the paid licenses, we have a team function. So if you had a paid license, you would have your team. And if you set up your migration, you would have the admin role, and then your team members would not have that role. So they couldn't change your formulas or change your migration templates and things of that nature, but you still can see the jobs are being done and everybody can do their work and in order of the project or whatever, if necessary.
Yep. Anyone else have any burning questions?
Good questions. I did not expect to talk about the product this long. I'm sorry.
If not burning, just nice to know.
I feel like I'm working today.
Or want to add some more to the knowledge base as per your experience. Like if you have some experience and you want to add to, what's been pulled out as a knowledge base, that would be appreciated as well. So
Anybody wants to share the knowledge? Any of the free tools, the cool tools they have seen?
any other cool
any AI
tools, yeah,
anything?
for migration?
I think data cleaning. How about that?
You had something to ask, right? Come. You had something
Which
to
one?
ask?
Demand tools.
They have a complete
Oh.
Is they paid or free tool? Top here, right? Come over here. Let's have a discussion with everybody over here. Come and sit down.
Good to have.
Not a question, still the last time we had a half an hour session talking about the free tools and okay, hey, this thing, all the stuff, org checker and this thing, workbench and all the different things, right? So, okay, go ahead.
Hi, so I'm Diana. Yeah, if I did initially have a question about the integration with SAP. We do send data back and forth. SAP is our master source of data. And it looks like you guys don't do that, but we only have a handful of things, like we send accounts over. We don't create any accounts in Salesforce. And I was wondering about that. But now, my other question is, how do you find where a field is used throughout the whole system, through the org? Before you migrate that one field, how do you know it's not going to affect anything else?
And also on this
Like, what do you use? What do you suggest? What?
Oops, sorry, I went on mute. So for me personally, that comes up a lot, and I think I'm dating myself here because again, I haven't worked in orgs for years, but I used to use a tool called Octopus by Astria.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
And that was very helpful. I don't know. I'm not good on what's new and latest and greatest, especially for that. I don't know. But as far as your data migration goes, that should definitely be part of your pre-planning before you even start moving anything. That goes without saying that you want to figure that out. And that goes, I think, in part with the automations. You're looking at how is this going to affect everything? I don't want to move all of these things and then find out an oopsie and have to do a rollback. So I used to use Octopus by Astria to figure out what fields were where and when they were used.
Okay. Yeah. Just wondering if you had any suggestions for tools. Okay.
Maybe somebody else on the call might, because I'm out of that realm.
Okay. That can get really messy and dangerous, and that breaks a lot.
Yeah.
Most of volume you are asking, like, what kind of information you are looking for?
Like say, okay, I'm going to transfer this field called territory, and it's used all over the place. Or you're going to migrate this territory in the account object, and it's used in a bunch of custom objects. How do you find all places where it's used and that you're migrating it correctly?
Like the field references, I'm assuming, right? Is it like the field reference, like you have a field on the top that's
Yeah, just a field, yeah, that you're going to migrate, like you're migrating the account object, right?
Yeah.
And you have a field.
So like it is like a dependency.
That that you got all the other objects too that you're migrating, and it's not affecting anything else. Because what if you migrated like the opportunity object and you didn't move? You didn't map the
Like
territory.
If it's a master detail, then you'll run into issues because you need.
Well, that's a master detail, but like just, okay,
Like
another
a
custom,
lookup,
yeah, something else, yeah, just something. Not maybe a custom object, not standard.
The way I've been hearing about doing it is using VS Code to pull down all the XML files and then search the XML files, but I haven't been able to do that yet.
That's what we also normally do. Either we go to the field and go to setup and look at the references. Like Salesforce also gives like a
dependency API.
Yeah, field dependency. Apart from that,
So Salesforce has a dependency API. Now it is more mature where you can find out dependencies.
Yeah, like change set, it'll say, yeah, like when you do a change set, it does say, you forgot this or that or this, yeah. But for migration.
For the fields, if you go to a particular field, it has a button called.
Yeah, it's tedious. I use it all the time.
But,
Yeah, I
you
do.
can use
Yeah.
the underlying API.
I use it all the time. Or change that cheat sheet. Yeah.
What I would think you would want to do if possible is maybe set up like a custom object for that territory and then just like use like lookup fields or something so you can like, or automation or something so you can change it at one place and have it change every other place without having to like rework it.
That'd be nice, but legacy systems may not have it. Yeah, maybe the new org that you migrate to. Yeah, so.
Are there any AI tools around data migration that
So yeah, to that, actually we used Field Spy. Basically, what you can do is you get to know how much, because if you're migrating, there's some extra fields and you don't want to migrate everything to the new org. So you want to see how much is the usage of the field. If it's not really used, you don't want to.
Oh yeah, there is field trip as well.
Yeah, those kind of tools.
So, but the problem is like if you have a flow and it references to a field which you never use, but it can still like you put your flow into the mess, right? But
yeah, you
like,
just used a field
like,
for a flow automation, but it's not really used. That again can have an issue. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that where is it used? If it is used in automation, you would have to move it, right? Otherwise it'll break. I don't know. Or you can say, not my problem. What
Octopus, she was saying?
yeah.
Octopus, I think so.
Yeah, I don't even know if that still exists. Let me Google it. Like I said, it's been a long time.
What's the website again? Octopus?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it? Have you seen it before?
All right, so we are, we have still some time if anybody wants to ask more questions.
I actually have to jump. So I'm so sorry, but yeah, I got an appointment here in 20 minutes, so I need to leave. I'm so sorry. But thank you so much for all of the conversation. I'm sorry that I didn't have a demo ready for Data Importer. I feel like that probably would have been a good thing to have ready. I was trying to keep it tool agnostic, but reach out to me, please. If anybody has any questions about it, you can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm super easy and accessible to find.
Yeah, when it's a good time, Amy, tell me. We can probably schedule it in one of the next months, the upcoming months.
Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks so much. It was amazing. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Oh, I will clap.
All right. So if nothing else is there, I would call it a day. We had a great meeting, and thanks everyone for your time. and excellent questions and participation. All right. Bye.
That data migration is always a fun part, especially with the new architecture coming.